Tuah, alright guys? You've probably seen that meme, flying around, especially, much more commonly with the whole, what was it called, the Talk to a podcast. The worst idea. I don't know what would compel you to actually do it, because it makes no sense. I've seen people with no talent that have been like plants in the industry where they were meant to become famous for no reason, to help a company. But with her, she's even worse. She's not like an industry plant. She really did come from nowhere, from a single video where, but for context, that channel that made that video was like about, asking girls in the street what they did to their boyfriend, to make them horny. And then like one of the girls was her, and she threw out that line, "Hawk Tuah." And since then, that single second from that clip has been able to be famous to the point that I can't really prove it, but I really feel like deep down she's a millionaire because the amount of fame she has and notoriety as well from other people. And those two guys, fuck them, I think that video got 1 million views, but apart from that, they haven't had any residual fame from it. They just made that one video and that's it, not even connected to her at all. But for her, all she said was "Hawk Tuah," that was it, with the addition of spit on that saying. And since then, she made a podcast, she got rich, and a bunch of people that otherwise wouldn't know her are now, clapping for her, a bunch of famous people. Like Joe Rogan, I'm pretty sure I saw Joe Rogan be like, "Oh my god, that Haley Welsh girl, she's the real stuff, great stuff." For us, just a basic meme that no one gets. I think with her, she really is the first person, the first meme where young people like me, they don't find that funny, but older people, they think it's the funniest shit. Because to be fair, I mean, they are going more senile, but they don't have the same brain-rotting humor as we do. So therefore, when they see Hawk Tuah, they can see 50 iterations of it and still find it funny. Like a very old 2010s Vine kind of humor where you'd have these nuts or "what are those" playing over and over, and they'd find it funny. So I'm not sure if that's a good sign of improving humor, where one joke can go really far, as opposed to now where one meme on TikTok dies within a week and it doesn't stop there. But even then, if you have a joke that goes very far, the Hawk Tuah joke just sucks ass. It's so annoying. It's not even that funny. I really feel I'm biased because otherwise I couldn't give any less of a shit about people's humor, what they find funny. But for some reason, seeing this girl Haley Welsh become insanely popular from just nowhere with nothing at all, becoming very rich, having a podcast, that just pisses you off so more. It strips any comedy you could have in a joke to the point that you don't enjoy it, and it pisses you off whenever you see it. I should mention as well. Okay, one story that made me realize, how annoying she is, or not annoying, but how insanely popular she gets from nowhere and getting rich, is that one time, she went to a bar. Oh no, someone paid her $30,000 to go to a bar, just show up and do nothing. Not say the line, not play a song, not do a show, just show up there, make people, "Yeah, Hawk Tuah girl," and that was it. That's all they wanted from her. $30K from that, that's insane. And that was, 2 months ago. Fast forward to today, and now she had a podcast with. I want to look up who set up the podcast with her, what company. I'm pretty sure it was the same one as Logan Paul with Impulsa. Let me check. I laughed so hard. There's in the search results you have Talk to a Podcast YouTube, Talk to a Podcast episode 1, Talk to a Podcast cancelled. Oh my, it got cancelled. Saying fuck. Okay, I was somewhat right. It's not Logan Paul, but it is his brother's Jake Paul's sports betting and media company, Better. Okay, so I'm guessing, hey, that's clever. They're a betting company and they put all the money in one, bumfuck girl to make a podcast that might be good. I mean, I'm making fun of it, but when you check it, 1.1 million views. It's that funny. It's very easy from my perspective. To say, oh, people that watch it ironically as a joke, then click off. But at the same time, I'm sure if I was, if I was a much older gentleman, I'd probably be in the same with my friends, at a bar, playing on a TV. So, from my point of view, it seems, people just watch it as a joke. But there might be a very huge demographic of, older people that love listening to her. No, I just realize now, all the guys, all the gentlemen, all the people, all the women, they don't want to watch, young people, like a young girl like her talk. They want to see like old miserable fucks like Joe Rogan and Howard Stern. They want to watch them, like a bunch of older people. So if they're watching, they probably like her for the first, 10 seconds of saying Hawk Tuah. But past that, I don't think they want to watch a 1 hour long podcast with her and a bunch of other friends are equally as young as her.
So I wanted to start my podcast out here in Belfast, Tennessee, where I was born at and where I've been ever since until a few weeks ago and everything changed. No, really, I even learned that you can't bring a box cutter on a plane.
Oh, but then at the same time, I just realized, with her thick accent, I'll get that in a second, she really seemed like a very southern girl, very rural. I got a Hawk too, and I got famous from it. She does seem like that kind of person, seems very, cowboy, cowgirl-ish, and people like her for that. But at the same time, for me, her accent, I watched a bit of the podcast. I can't understand shit. Like, it's so fake. It's like, it really is like one generation away from sounding like a boomhauer from King of the Hill.
But we were up there and we got that phone call and KK was telling us about this other video and I was like, are you shitting me right now? Like, you're pulling my dick. There's no way. Me and Granny are on the way home and I'm over here and there's a sad song on the radio.
5,000 miles away, man. Ain't nobody see it. Nobody don't even happen.
And it's not one of those things where the first episode is very rough, because when you have normal people that do a podcast from nowhere with no background, of course, they're gonna be much harder to talk. But no, when I listened to the second episode, it was the same shit with her accent and a bunch of other friends, which is like from Tennessee. You couldn't tell from a t-shirt, Tennessee, surprise. And I just found that annoying. And on the second episode, I tried to watch that one because it's more newer. And it's so bizarre. Okay, what would you, if you have a podcast with the Hawk Tuah girl, it makes sense having Hayley Welsh because she made the joke. I get having her best friend there because she was part of the clip. But who the fuck are the other two people? One of them is like some high school best friend that showed up from nowhere, and the other one's like a clone of the other girl, like exact twins. That really does show like the lack of potential this podcast has, especially when it came from nowhere. Because yeah, surprise, surprise, when you have a podcast with friends, I mean, they might enjoy it, but for anyone else, they find it awkward because they don't really. I mean, I'm sure they're friends. I'm sure they have good chemistry, but I feel like people on podcasts, they don't do it with friends. They do it with people that that talk good, that talk to her, because it's more entertaining. If you have a podcast with friends, you find it enjoyable, but for anyone else, it might find it boring, mundane, stale. So you have to have people that have real talent for talking on a podcast. Also, by the way, for a podcast that, was started by a huge company like Better, I mean, I don't know them, but I imagine that if they're owned by Jake Paul, they have to be big on some level. And the fact that, they got owned by some huge company, even then, the best recording space you could get is like some random space in front of the porch, which I imagine, very good soundscape, good job. Also, they said on the Google search that it's a media company, Better, then surely they could get like other people from somewhere else to go do the podcast with her. Because I know it's a very generic joke, but it really is a trope of random people from nowhere starting a podcast with their friends for no reason. I mean, I guess, yeah, some people might enjoy it, but at the same time, I feel like a podcast is like, a real like show of talent, how funny are you, how smart are you, how against the wall high you are, like Joe Rogan. But even then, there's like some value you get from it. I don't know what value you could get from like, a girl sitting in front of a porch, talking to your friends about a joke that's been run into the ground fucking hard. So in terms of the Talk to a podcast, I predict at best 5 episodes before it completely falls off. Like episode 6, 5k views, episode 7, 3k views, and from there, it keeps falling off. Surprise, surprise, this show made from nothing isn't that funny. Very, very, very sad to say. But I will admit now, her fame, her online career does stand as a testament that, anyone in this day and age can become famous from nothing or anything. Because imagine like back in the 70s, someone becoming famous from this. Like if they said Hawk Tuah in like a studio, they'd be kicked out if they said it more than 4 times. At least with that fat retard Elvis Presley, he had to do that on stage, and people, they found it funny. They like this music. He had some talent at least. But with her, yeah, I don't know how much talent you get from saying Hawk Tuah over and over. It really is not that much. at least online, you know, when people like a joke being, you know, run to the ground over and over and over, then yeah, they're gonna enjoy it more and find it more funny somehow. So I at least appreciate that. Where if I ever have any doubt or regret that I could become popular on YouTube, I'll at least look at her and be like, okay, it is popular, because if she can do it with nothing at all, maybe, you know, if I just, you know, put a little bit more work, I could become as big as a Tuah podcast potentially. I pray to God.